in agreement on the rest of that, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman,
Okay, and so, Mr. Chairman, what we will see is the continual fraudulent use of bank statements, utility bills, everything else that has been happening since 2003 for illegals to obtain driver's license.
Mr. Chairman, we use this, the substitute bill, yes.
Okay, and Mr. Chairman and Representative Nunez, this bill originally, the law went into effect in 2003, is that correct?
That's it, Mr. Chairman.
And so, Mr. Chairman and Representative Nunez, it's been almost 10 years since that law did go into effect. And so people have had the opportunity to become legal through one way or another, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Beazell, that's absolutely correct.
Okay, so Mr. Chairman and Representative Nunez, what I am understanding that because of 9 years have gone by on whenever the law was first passed, people did have the opportunity to become legal to obtain the Mexico driver's license instead of the fraudulent use of it. And it has not changed, so we are still seeing human trafficking going on in the meantime. And if the substitute bill is passed, we will still see human trafficking continue, is that correct?
Mr. Chairman, Representative Beazell, I will just say yes.
Mr. Chairman and Representative Nunez, whenever I've heard the testimony from everybody here that was working with Representative on House Bill 103, we have heard that there's documented cases of people from China, India, Russia, Brazil, Korea, Poland, and Costa Rica fraudulently getting the Mexico driver's license. Like I said earlier, my job here as an elected official is to uphold our Constitution and look out for the safety and well-being of the citizens of the state of New Mexico. And Mr. Chairman, I'm afraid that if we do go with the committee substitute for House Bill 103, it will remain the status quo. Nothing will change. And that is putting our citizens' life at risk, and it is still a national security risk. Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, I cannot support the committee substitute. Thank you very much for allowing me this time.
Thank you, Representative Beazell. Further questions, discussion on the substitute? Representative Martinez, did you wish to respond to the question?
No, I was just going to make sure we're procedurally correct, because I was going to move that we remove the bill from the table for purposes of moving the committee substitute, which would be a do not pass. But since we tabled it, I just want to remove it from the table, because my intention was never permanently table it. It's just to remove it from the table for purposes of going to this. I just want to make sure we did that right, Chairman. So I move that we remove House Bill 103 from the table for the purposes of discussion motion on the Labor Committee substitute.
Okay, I'll entertain that motion. Is there a second?
I'm confused.
Okay,
Now they're saying they're not
we
going
have a motion to remove House Bill 103 from the table.
Now they're saying they're not going to.
And made
For the purpose of the motion and discussion of House Labor and Human Resources Committee substitute for House Bill.
okay.
I don't know if
We have a proper second.
person who has the bill doesn't want to substitute.
Those in support of the motion, raise your hand. Those in opposition to the motion? Okay, by a vote of 5 in affirmative, 1 negative, Mr. 103 is removed from the table and be made part of the discussion of House Bill substitute for House Bill 103.
Not explaining my vote, I didn't want to vote no on the do pass, because if it was a majority voting no on the do pass, it would have gone to the floor, for possible killing of the bill. And I had promised you that I want to work. Well, it would have gone to the report on the do not pass. So I didn't want to have a majority vote do not pass, because the if we had accepted the committee report, then the bill would have been that. I'm not saying that we would have, I don't know what, but I had promised you to vote to move forward. And that's why I moved the table, so I didn't have to vote no. So now at this point in time, without ending debate, but at the proper time, I'd like to move a do not pass on House Bill 103, so we can do a do pass on House Labor and Human Resource Committee substitute to House Bill 103.
Okay, I'll entertain that motion on Alvarez and Martinez, because we are not
Do anything.
watching debate if we approve that motion.
Okay.
The debate still continues. You don't have a motion to do not pass on 103, but do pass on the substitute.
Okay.
So is there a second on that motion? Okay, we have a do not pass on House Bill 103, but do pass on House Labor and Human Resources Committee substitute for House Bill 103. Secretary to call the roll.
Representative Izal.
Pass.
Representative Lewis.
No.
Representative Little.
No.
Representative Martinez.
Yes.
Representative Nieta.
Yes, ma'am.
Representative Stapleton. Representative Woolley.
No.
Representative Chavez.
Yes.
Representative Izal.
No.
Mr. Chair,
Yes. Five affirmative, 40 negative. We're accepted the substitute bill for discussion purposes. We're back on debate of the substitute bill. I think Representative Woolley, you had your hand up for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Representative Martinez, on your substitute bill, I just have one question. On page 14, line 18, the 2-year period there, seems like an awful long time. What's the purpose of 2 years?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a very good question, Mr. Chairman. I looked at that too. I think the purpose of the 2 years was because we were going to go to a 2-year only issuance for the non-documented or the non-social security. So that means that would give them 2 years to do it properly with the council. But I also agree that may be something we could tighten up. I haven't looked at it. I do have here, and we can defer. I asked legislative council, I know that you're not taking a position on it, but I'll bring you the draft of manager. But my understanding was it was to refer back to the fact we were creating a 2-year only license, so that 2-year review period. But we could tighten that up, and that may be a good amendment, and that may be something we want to look at in the future. But I don't know if the council wants to speak to that with his disclaimer. I asked. Yeah.
Laura, can you refresh on that question?
Mr. Chair, Madam Chair, my name is Damian Lara. I'm staff member with the Legislative Council Service. I'm here at your request to assist the committee in regard to House Bill 103. Legislative Council Policy Number 7 requires me to state that I do not appear here in support of or opposition to the matter before the committee. Mr. Chair, Representative, in part that was the case, as Representative Martinez indicated, because it was a 2-year issuance period that was going to be granted, starting effective with the bill. The second consideration was that given the amount of driver's licenses that have been issued, upwards of 95,000 now that the department has indicated, the department here, as you might indicate, as you might see, the department is required, it's not at the discretion of the department shall provide, and it has to do these things. And we didn't believe that the department had the capabilities to go through all 90,000 driver's licenses in a short amount of time. And so this provided that they can do it in a quicker amount of time, that they are able to do that, but that they wouldn't be breaking the law if they did not meet the standard within the amount allotted by the statute. So that 2-year period, in reference, that that's how somebody would have any ways to come back and renew it, and would give, we would hope, a sufficient amount of time for the department to go through all of the driver's licenses that had been issued up until that date.
Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Further questions, discussion? Representative Bill?
Mr. Chairman, I guess, I need some clarification. My understanding is we just passed this. Did we not just pass, it was a two pass for for the substitute.
The motion was a formal motion, for, to, it was for discussion purposes. And I think earlier, I had kind of entertained
So is
an
the,
intent to discuss the subs, but we didn't take a formal motion in terms of actually doing a do not pass on House Bill 101, or a do pass on the substitute for discussion purposes. So that's where we're at right now.
Mr. Chairman, so did we do the discussion on the do not pass or on the do pass?
We're doing a discussion on the do pass of the substitute bill. That's where we're at.
I understand, but the way the motion was made was a do not pass on 103 and a pass on
On the
the
substitute bill.
substitute. So if we voted to do that, to say yes, wouldn't it have passed? That's my question.
We were formalizing the motion to bring the substitute before us in a formal manner for discussion purposes.
I guess the answer is, we were going to go into the discussion of the substitute, but then we had a motion, because I deferred to Representative Rizal, to actually pass the bill, not the substitute. I didn't want to vote against that, because I didn't want to vote against the bill, because I committed to moving it forward, because we would have had a vote that may have killed the bill on committee report. So I moved the table, so as not to vote against the bill, so we could come back on this discussion, so we had to do that motion again. So you're right, we did it twice, but that's because we had to intervene on the motion on the due pass on 103. We're back now on passage, it'll be passing the committee. The bill will move to the next committee, but it'll move in the substitute form. And you'll have to vote on that, but we had to pull it off the table, do it again, since we had an intervening motion on that.
So,
So
Mr.
it's
Chairman,
not
the
the bill
motion was
anymore.
made for a do not pass on 103, and my understanding was a pass on the substitute, and we voted yes
For
to do
discussion,
that.
for discussion purposes.
I didn't hear the, the motion was made for discussion purpose, or was it made for a do pass?
For discussion purposes.
So why did we, what did,
I
we
didn't want to stop debate, and I didn't know if anyone else had anything to say. But I do want this to be before the committee appropriately. We'll vote in public on
Mr. Chairman, I understand, but I guess the way the motion was made was that the substitute would be a do pass, and I didn't understand for discussion purposes only. The motion was made for a do pass, was it not?
Well, it was a statement that it's, whenever we're bringing forth a substitute bill, this is still Representative Nunez's bill. It's just that we've subbed it with an amendment that Representative Martinez brought forth.
Well, I understand that, but Mr. Chairman, but we killed that just now with the motion for a do not pass, right? And when we answered with a do not pass on his, did we not, that killed that bill, did it not?
We haven't voted on that action yet, because we're still, the motion was a do not pass on House Bill 103.
And we voted on that.
But a do pass on House Labor and Human Resources,
And we voted on
and a
that.
substitute for discussion purposes.
So for the motion, your motion was for discussion purposes. I thought the motion was, okay, then, I'm sorry. Mr. Chairman.
It's understandable.
I understood the motion to be
Very
that
convoluted.
do not pass and pass, but if it was, so has his do not pass is still on discussion purposes then?
That's correct. If we take a vote,
We're working on two
after
bills now at the
discussion,
same time?
no, we're on discussion of the substitute bill.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Further questions, discussion members? If there's no further questions or discussion, or what should I from you?
So at this time now, I do make a motion that motion that House Bill 103 do not pass, but House Labor and Human Resources Committee substitute for House Bill 103 do pass.
Okay, and before I take that vote, I'd like to give a second by motion by Representative Martinez, and do pass on the substitute, and second by Representative Chavez. And I'd like to give a sponsor of House Bill 103 the opportunity for closing
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it. First off, I want to go back a little bit on what some of the folks were saying. And I know the one thing that Representative Chapman was talking about, the family down there, the father back to Mexico, that had nothing to do with driver's license. That's an immigration issue. It's not wasn't the driver's license. And another thing, Mr. Chairman, that you had mentioned about the cost on this, if you'd have gone on and read the rest of that paragraph, it tells you that the lost revenue for driver's license, that it would be offset by operating budget. So it's no money lost to the taxpayers. And then someone was brought up at the 3% also. Well, 3%, if they read the whole paragraph, would show them that the 2,662 license that they used as a sample was 3% of the total. And not the 3% of people, but it was just 3% of the total numbers. And I wanted to clarify that for everything. And I know one thing, another thing too, is I want to ask the sponsor of the substitute bill. Being this is your bill, if you don't pass it out, which I know you want to, then you will be the one putting it on in the judiciary, because it's not my bill. That is if we get it off the floor.
So, Mr. Chairman, no, it's in my opinion, and my deference is that it is your bill. And you would be the one that's put it on.
It's not.
Chairman, I did not put on the substitute because I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Right, but, Mr. Chairman, and if it's a question presented to me, I would suggest that it goes to, it's important that it goes to the next committee. I promise you that we move it forward. It's the first bill first year. I visited, after we visited today on the floor, I visited with Chairman Clark, and I asked him, how soon, if we got it out today, could we get it to judiciary? And he says maybe even as soon as Monday, which is pretty good. So, and I would never try to jump over you and say it's now my bill, it's not, it's your bill. And at judiciary, it will be subject to the same type of amendments and things like that. And in fact, I think there's been some good points made here. I know there were some Senate floor amendments that I was going to bring by you that may also be, and you may have amendments that change what's done here too. It's still your bill, but it's still subject to amendment. That's it before contact. It certainly is not dead, because it's still moving.
Where is this moving as a substitute?
103 is not.
103, this is still House Bill 103. It's currently been substituted for committee sub, but that could be changed in the next committee. That could be changed on the floor. This sub could be amended. This sub could be sub. I mean, it's still part of the process.
That's all, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate all of the comments and all of that. And still wonder, we got some school teachers on the board, and we have some lawyers, and they still don't know the difference between legal and illegal. And that's why I look at it. I was elected to be a lawmaker. And if I went along with this and issue these lessons again, I would think I'm a lawbreaker. And so I just want to make those comments.
Thank you, Representative Dominguez, for those closing statements. We're on the motion to do not pass on House Bill 103, but I do pass on House Labor and Human Resources Committee substitute for House Bill 103.
It's resubstitute, they're doing it anyway.
Representative
Of course.
Don't do it, you ought to say no.
Representative Lewis.
Our people, I know.
Representative Little.
No.
Representative Martinez.
Yes.
You're gonna attach his name to it.
Representative
They
Netta.
can't.
That's right.
Representative Stapleton. Representative Woolley. Representative Chavez. Yes. Mr. Chair.
Yes. By a vote of 5 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, House Bill substitute, House Bill and Human Resources Committee substitute for House Bill 103 is going to be passed with recommendation. Thank you, members. Thank you.